make my first turn, and then I usually set it that way. There's my touch mark, right there. Roll it. Hey guys, welcome back to my shop. Welcome back to Power Forge. I wanted to bring you in and show you some new tools that I'm making for my beloved fly press to work with my 0-point plate, or any fly press for that matter. But I've got several different top and bottom dies that I've made, about halfway through hardening and tempering them. But they're a really cool addition to the fly press, and they solve some problems for me, and I wanted to show you all and see what you think. So here they are in all their glory. This was my my demo die. This is the one I did first. It's a 3/4 inch diameter fullering die, and this is a size that I use on my Smithin Magician. Actually, we'll look at that in just a second. But I use my Smithin Magician a lot to set in certain features in my work, especially in handles, to get that nice forged finger rest. And that kind of led me down this path. Well, if I wanted 3/4, I also want half. So there's half, 3/4, and if I have half, 3/4, then let's do 1 inch. And these are all, this set is all in 4140. But I think S7 would also be a good metal to use, depending on how aggressive one is with their work. But 4140 seems to hold up for me very well. So here's this set, and then something that I always wanted on my Smithin Magician was this. I guess you could call this a convex swedge or swage, but instead of a fuller, it's opposite, right? It goes in. And I think you could do some really interesting forging. You know, you could put in some perpendicular details, a little round beadwork in stock. You could run it this way, I suppose, for rounding. I don't know. I haven't played with this yet. These are just made, and I have not hardened them or tempered them. This may look like it's a short shank. I've got two models that I'm going to be making. This short shank is meant to directly interface with a tool holder, okay, like that. And so, you know, if one uses this stop collar, it's built in, but you know, that's tightened right up in a tool holder. And then I've got this longer shank variety, which is, let me get this open here. This is a good fit. And then I've got this longer shank variety that could equally just go straight up into the fly press. But for my fly press, I generally like to always use a tool holder. I don't want anything stuck there. So I use a good tool holder with a recovery option. That way if anything gets stuck, I can pull the tool holder out, or I can pull the tool, get the tool out of the tool holder. So nothing, I don't want anything permanently stuck in this fly press. And then I did a little detail work here. I've got my branding, Power Forge, my little website, my touch mark in each of these 1 inch shanks. They'll go up there, and then the bottom fullers all have a 1 inch square hardy, and I suppose you could put this right in an anvil, but this is meant for my fly press. This is meant for, let me rearrange this. I made my own little hardy quick change base plate, and so this square hardy goes straight into there, right? And with my 0-point system here, it fits, it lines up perfectly with the tool holder. So for example, let me pull this hardware out. So this goes straight in here, like so. Tighten this bad boy up. And then with this tightening screw, which is just off screen, I can tighten this bottom die right up, so it's not moving anywhere. So pretty slick. I really like how this fly press is working with this new plate. So let me show you what problem this is solving for me, and maybe that'll give you a better idea why I did all this. Here's my Smithin Magician setup, and right now, like I said, this is the 3/4 fuller, and I made these dies out of 4140 as well, and I've got a bottom die in here with that bottom 3/4. I just got it stuck. 3/4 fuller, and then the top die goes here. And I don't know if you can make my whole body out here, but my head is way up here, and my work is down here. And I often, it's hard for me to see, you know, I'm not down here looking at my work, but it takes, I'm okay at it. But I can forge this in a little off, and I've ruined some pieces before because as I line it up, it's not quite how I like, and it makes quite a racket. Don't get me wrong, you know, I love this this tool, this piece of equipment that I have. It works quite well, but I wanted to see if I could duplicate this functionality on the fly press, where on the fly press, you know, I've got the number 5, where I can really put, with minimal effort, a lot more precise force onto the workpiece. And because the workpiece is, I can really see, especially where I'm hitting it the first time, it's easier for me to be on target and then to maintain target as I rotate this around. Now I've made about 30 of these with the new setup, and by now I am, well, after the first one I knew this was, you know, orders of magnitude better than the Smithin Magician. This is good for, you know, a few pieces, but if you're knocking out, let's say 100, I just got an order the other day, a company wanted me to do 150 steak turners to give to their employees or somebody, whatever. But 150 items, right? If you're doing that many and you want to repeat at scale, I like my options with the fly press a lot better. I mean, it's a mixed bag with forging. There's a lot of wabi-sabi, right? A lot of Japanese, you know, the art of handmade work. Each piece does not match the other. But this is good for one piece or a few pieces. That fly press is a lot easier to repeat. It's a lot quieter, and it's a joy to use. So let's take a look. Let me get set up on the fly press, and then let's see the difference between doing it on the Smithin Magician and then forging a handle on the fly press. All right, guys, let's make this quick. I've got 2 new railroad spikes that I've forged down to a uniform thickness. I've marked this at 95 millimeters, where I'm going to put in this 3/4 inch fuller on all sides. My little touch mark. So we'll do one here, and then we'll switch over to the fly press and do the other one. Actually, while that spike's heating up, let me reposition this camera. You guys can actually see. Now there's quite a bit of distance between my head and the workpiece. I mean, come on, guys do it all the time, but for a blind old bat like me, it just makes things more difficult. Let's see here. That looks good. See if we can get this in one heat. So gotta get down here. Oh, there's my touch mark. Try to get centered. Make my first turn. And then I usually set it that way. And then follow up with single blows. Scoop this one up. Not my prettiest work. I promise. I didn't like rush that. To make the fly press look better. That's not too bad. Zoom in a little bit for you. Okay, so not too bad. I got a little bit off, but you know, that'll work. We'll still use that. Let's look at the fly press. Let's do one like this. Find my touch mark, and then I'll do another one a little zoomed in. I'm gonna roll this over. Roll it over, make sure that I'm centered. For me, it's much easier to just to step in, look, am I centered, and then hit it again. Until I really got that set. I usually, okay, I'll be honest, I usually do better than I did on that first one on the Smithin Magician. But, you know, we're filming. So there you go. That is using the fly press. I got no ear pro on. It's not as violent as the Smithin Magician, and I hit my touch mark just perfectly right here. Because I mean, I got readers on my safety glasses. I can get in here and I can really see where I am. I feel like I'm in a better position to do this. Both work. I like this. You know, I've got the mechanical advantage. It's quiet. And let's see if it's repeatable. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. We'll do this one more time. Okay. So there's my touch mark. Right there. Roll it in the middle. Roll it. Okay. And one more. And then I like to put in a little chamfer on the diamond there. So there you go. Right on the money with the touch mark. Pretty good. Very repeatable. So here are the three that we just forged. They're still quite hot. That was the first one with the Smithin Magician. And then, in order, the two that I did on the fly press. You know, all very passable. See if I can't get a zoom in here a little bit. Touch mark, I was a little off. And granted, I'm actually usually not this bad. I'm giving the Smithin Magician a bad name. It actually does much better than this. This was just a fluke. And this happens, actually. Every once in a while, I'll have a fluke. Sometimes it's my first or second one. So far, I have been more consistent with the fly press. Yes, I can still mess up on the fly press. I have gotten on the turn where you set it and then you turn it once. I have moved my left hand a little bit and I've been off on the turn a couple of times. But I've gotten the hang of it. For me, it's much more consistent, and I've got my touch mark right there on that one, and I can't even see the touch mark. I'm going to call that one a bullseye. So all good, and each have their strengths, but I'm very, very pleased with, I'll tell you right now, going forward, I choose to use the fly press. Alright guys, that's all I got for you today. So, what do you think? Smithin Magician, Fly Press, both? Anyway, if you've got an opinion, let me know in the comments. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll catch you on the next one. Bye.